Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Daniel.
And I'm Andres.
And together we make up the marketing team for Nike
Jordan
Super.Fly
5
ID.
To succeed in marketing, you must understand in the way which consumers make decisions. This report will focus on the concepts that guide consumer decision-making processes, using the 5 key concepts to elaborate on why consumers will choose to buy Nike Jordan Super.Fly 5 ID shoes. We will take an in-depth approach to finding limitations in theoretical concepts and how behaviors linked to decision-making to create our own recommendations for buying our chosen product. The outline for this report will be the consumer decision-making processes, steps 1 to 5, followed by a conclusion, followed by researchers' recommendations, and followed by references.
Step 1 of the marketing mix is need recognition. As explained in the learning class, a purchase decision occurs when a consumer has an unfulfilled need and a specific product can satisfy it. For the case of the basketball shoes, those reasons can be because first, the old shoes are damaged. Second, there's a new release, new shoes with new characteristics, new technology, and some improvements. And third, purely because of fashion. All of these reasons can be categorized into 2 main categories: internal stimuli and external stimuli. Internal stimuli are just occurrences that the consumer experiences, such as hunger or thirst. And external stimuli are influenced from the outside source, such as a friend's recommendation, a restaurant review, or just propaganda. Out of the 3 reasons mentioned before, the only one that fits into the internal stimuli category is fashion. The Jordan shoes are lightweight, they have stabilized lockdown and foam midsole, and the consumer can personalize the design with a personal message on it, so they can write their name, they can write their initials, they can write a message they want on the shoes, and they can choose the outsole style according to their needs. All of these characteristics may trigger the consumer to purchase the product. The fact that it can be personalized 100% is a visual reaction on the consumer who may purchase it because of how it looks.
Step 2. Information processes in decision making. Consumers begin to look for information on certain products and their substitutes once they become aware of a want or a need. The paths that they go through will either be internal or external. We use these information searches to minimize the risk that is associated with finalizing and guaranteeing that the best decision is arrived at. Factors such as previous experience fall into the category of internal searches, as they are primarily involved in memory recollection, whilst the pursuit of situational data is an external process. These external influences can be categorized into being either marketing-controlled or non-marketing controlled information sources. Variables such as testing and viewing new commodities alongside information from associates, colleagues, family and online testimonials or evaluations are defined as the key characteristics of non-marketing controlled information sources, as they have no direct link to publicity from the organisation who has developed it. On the other side of the spectrum falls the marketing-controlled information sources, which embody using as many different outputs to advertise and promote a brand or product as possible. But today's consumers have become just as savvy as the messages being sent through these targeted campaigns. Consumers who have a higher reasoning ability and income tend to process the information at hand more effectively, applying their own comprehension to challenges advertising influences on decision making. Perceived risk is the most influential factor in an external search in association to buying the good or the service on offer. It's in turn guided by familiarity, self-assurance in your own purchase decisions, past experiences of similar purchases, and the level of attraction towards the product itself. From the vast level of information the consumer bears, they form a list of their most favoured selections, and they begin to analyse these until the decision is reached on what option to choose, and this is called the evoked set. There's a level of loyalty to the brands that make it into this set, and these are deliberated before any purchases have been made. Researchers Daliart and Habul denote that the recommendations lead to searching in choice mode, as the focus is on weighing up and detecting the paramount alternatives through the discovery process amongst the evoked set. Accessibility, post-purchase assessments, and conscientiousness are variables that alter which options move in and out of a person's evoked set, specifically in consumer decisions regarding the alternatives. Interestingly, memory has significant implications for decision-making options. And the more retrievable the information is in the stored memory, the greater the likelihood for brand processing and remembering certain brands.
Step 3 is the evaluation of alternatives. So at the moment, the four most popular basketball shoes are the Nike Super.Fly 5 ID shoes, the Under Armour Curry 3s, the Nike Kobe X, and the LeBron 12, made by Nike also. So all four of these shoes are made by either past or current NBA players. The price of these shoes are all fairly similar, give or take $50. The features and technologies are also similar, with a similar weight. The traction are all very good to make sure you don't slip and slide on the basketball court. And the Nike Super.Fly 5 ID shoes have Zoom Air technology, which make moving around a lot easier compared to the other shoes. The technology that are in these shoes are top of the line, and that's what differentiates it from the other products. Along with the highly customizable shoes, none of the other shoes you can fully customize like the Nike Super.Fly 5 ID shoes. You can have your jersey number, your name, your team name, a phrase. You can choose the colors of the shoe. You can do whatever you want to the shoe. That's what makes this shoe stand out towards the others. To begin to evaluate the alternative options and decision making, we can follow these easy steps. Using information in memory and external environment to evaluate the options at hand. By choosing an attribute to taper the decision of alternatives. Cutoffs for the min-max a product should have for an attribute. Ranking of the attribute's level of importance. Ranking how well these attributes implement that attribute. Brand, influential factor on trust. Social media, peer reviews, and comparison websites. Is there an easy way to access all this information? Yes, online. There are many different websites that can offer comparisons of different models of shoes to help make my decision, such as sportsconsumer.com, probasketballtroops.com, Sneaker News, and a whole lot more. So on these websites you can compare any type of shoe against the other and list the pros and cons and all that sort of things that can make purchasing a whole lot easier.
The first step of the marketing mix is need recognition. As we learned in class, a purchase decision occurs when a consumer has an unfulfilled need and one specific product can satisfy it. In the case of the Nike Jordan Super.Fly 5 ID. Now let's think for one moment that I'm the final consumer. So how involved am I in the purchase decision of Nike Jordan Super.Fly 5 ID? Well, I have to ask different things. First of all, my previous experience. Have I bought Nike Jordan before? This way I can make a fast decision because I know the brand and I have an experience to base my criteria on. How interested am I? Am I an athlete? Is my passion basketball? Am I really interested in buying a new pair of shoes? And the risk I perceive of negative consequences. Are these shoes in my price range? What will others think of me wearing those shoes? Are these shoes going to change the way people think of me? Are they gonna change the way I perform in a basketball game? Then it comes to the situation. I have put so much more effort into my decision than I thought I would. I didn't think so much effort would go into deciding to buy these shoes. And finally, social visibility. Will people see that I have passion for basketball? Or am I at risk of being judged differently to the way I want to be seen? After evaluating all the possible alternatives and comparing the main attributes, the purchase decision has been made with the possible reasons being First, the overall performance of the product. Second, how customizable is it for me, for the consumer. And third, past experiences, positive experiences with the brand and the sub-brand. In this case, positive previous experiences with Nike and Jordan. So where can I, the consumer, find the Nike Jordan Super.Fly 5 ID? Well, they will be found in Nike retail stores in shopping malls and in online shopping in e-commerce. How would they be promoted? On advertisement on television, internet, social media, and billboards on the street. The brand loyalty and reputation is very well reputed because Nike dominates the basketball shoes market, and because the name of the Michael Jordan gives reputation to the sub-brand, to the Jordan sub-brand. And finally, the price. It is considerably more affordable than similar products on the market, despite the enormous brand reputation and popularity of the series. Because one would think that Jordan are super expensive, but they are really not as expensive compared to other shoes in the market. They're really affordable and they offer good characteristics.
Step 5. The post-purchase behaviour. There are pre-existing expectations that consumers have before they buy the product itself, but also the outcomes that they associate with owning this product. If their expectations are exceeded or just not met, a customer will either feel satisfied or dissatisfied. We're going to explore the consumer satisfaction and dissatisfaction, or in this case, the cognitive dissonance, the discrepancy felt internally when there's a difference between value and behaviour. To compensate with this dissonance, consumers can rationalise their purchase. A lack of communication can cause the consumers to feel anxious and change to another brand, whereas level of optimism was seen as a protective factor to dissonance. In return, if the level of communication in the post-purchase stage increases, it will in turn decrease the negative feelings towards the purchase and increase the loyalty to this brand. Systems of rewards encourage consumers' brand loyalty through an increased idea of value in the purchase decision. There is a positive correlation in profits and positive brand appraisal through word of mouth.
In conclusion, the key steps of the consumer decision-making process to acknowledge are need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, and post-purchase behavior. The Jordan Super.Fly 5 ID shoes is a high involvement product, so it needs to understand how the consumers make their purchasing decision and take into consideration their needs and wants. This product needs to communicate more efficiently and effectively to the target audience about how they have their best interests at heart. This product could also benefit from increase in marketing, mainly targeting the 4 Ps. Conclusively, Jordan Super.Fly 5 ID should gain an increase in favorability among consumers.
So, recommendations for step 1. Since Nike is focusing to trigger the visual of the customers, they should focus more on communicating not only the attributes of the product itself, but on the fact that it's personalizable, and they have to promote that to make sure that the customers know that that's a big difference between their Jordan shoes and other shoes.
If Nike Jordan follows the recommendations on the screen for step 2, they will be able to make their consumers feel more confident in the information that is presented to them and keep loyalty to this brand, or at the very least, it will be higher up in their consideration set.
Recommendations for step 3. Nike should access what attributes are important to consumers. Increase the level of social media advertising. Persons who discuss brands and products through their social media have a huge influence on purchase decision making to other consumers. Work out the best time to air commercials so that the largest demographic is able to view products. Trust is created through brands reaching out to consumers. Nike should reward loyalty and increase trust through promotional activities and reward systems. Word of mouth will happen more often if Nike is involved with the public and consumers, and it will increase positive appraisal of goods and services.
Recommendations for step 4. The first one would be to reduce the perceived risk by having a good customer service for the final consumer. The second would be create a likable, trustworthy image of the brand so that the consumer would want to buy again the same brand and will tell his friends about how good it is. And third would be to emphasize on what it feels like to own a Jordan Super.Fly 5 ID and how they differentiate you from the other people.
If the recommendations for Step 5 are followed, Nike will be able to increase their brand loyalty and even receive new customers through word-of-mouth recommendations from satisfied customers. Anxiety and dissonance will be tackled through communications post-purchase to keep customers feeling happy and confident in their decision. Offering rewards and incentives helps to build brand loyalty and create a positive relationship between consumer and brand, and in turn it will add extra value to the product in the consumer's eyes.